Hey, what's up guys, this is TBone here. Welcome back to another episode of playing Legendary Game of Heroes. Now today I'm going to talk about the team for Deadly Lessons. And as luck would have it, after yesterday's live stream where I did a preview, that was also when Guild vs. Guild event was over and I got the rewards from that, and that actually gave me enough gems to go to tier 6, which I did to get the Guaranteed Master Collection card, and I was able to then get the full team from it. And so what I wanted to do then is to use the team and talk about how it works, show you the mechanics, and how much damage you can actually deal, so you can get a better sense for yourself on whether or not you would actually want to invest in this deck, or if you did get this deck, how would you be able to use it, and what other cards you can use to get some good damage. And so to do that, we're going to go up against a level 300 Ultra Kill boss, because this is really the name of the game. We want to try and get as much damage as we could. So what I've got here is I've got two different teams set up. And the full team I have here actually uses the ultra rare, the ultimate form, one ultra rare, and two master collection cards because I was able to get the shiny. And to fill out the last bit, I have Blitzkrieg Beast here because this card can give me 8 power gems as long as I have 50% health or higher, and so that really helps fill in the power gems that I'm missing from this team, because this team they generate 4 power gems by default, and then you need to get at least 100 intensity in order to get more. And so having the Blitzkrieg here speeds up the process, but if you don't have it, you could use any other card in there. You just have to build up intensity more. And since I went up to at least tier 5, I was able to get a full setup of relics here, because you're guaranteed to get up to a 2-star ultimate relic there. And so I'm going to be using this team, and we're going to go against a level 300 ultra kill, and I'm going to show you how much damage you're going to be able to deal. And so the trick here is you want to maximize your damage, but you don't want to take too long. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to 100 arcane killer intensity. I have 5 relics here, but because I only have 4 commanders, it's going to only increase at 33 at a time. And so we're going to need a couple of turns there. So we're going to wait until it surpasses 100. Now this team is pretty easy, because if you notice, you're basically going to get your damage boost every time you get hit by by the boss, and so you don't actually have to activate anything. It's automatically going to be activated for you. So now all you have to do is you just need to generate the power gems, and I'm going to do it by activating Blitzkrieg first because it generates power gem 4. And then from here, what I want to do then is do my power gem match, and we can take a look and see how much damage we actually can deal here. So we can deal enough damage to actually take out the boss, but then if you look at sort of the thresholds here, it doesn't go to 500, 300, and we couldn't even get the 200% overkill. In order to get 200% overkill, you need to have at least 33 trillion damage. And here what we've got is we dealt about just a little bit over 20 trillion. And so the reason for that is because the cards themselves, they don't have the greatest damage boost compared to previous cards. So the ultra rare card Burning Bruiser will increase the Immortal Killer by 1200, and that is half of what we are used to seeing. For example, Circuit Break Hilaria increases by more than that, and then also the Dark Golem deck, they increase by 2400 on its own. And so so this is definitely one of the reasons why, and then having 2 of those is really the same as having 1 of the previous cards that we've seen. And so having a total 24% boost isn't quite enough for us to get the overkill. In fact, you will need to have at least 2 ultra rare cards in here in order to get the 200% overkill. It's not even guaranteed for you to get the 300. You need more ultra rare cards for that. And so what are the options then? Well, I played around a little bit, and I came up with this setup here that I was able to successfully get 300% overkill. So I'm using Magma Ventrix here because it's an arcane killer, and also it applies basically a 3 times damage boost for all our commander cards. And so I can put in my Circuit Break Hilaria. I do have 3 of them, and so I'm using this as much as I could. And so I'm banking on the fact that I can get a minimum of 200 times 10, so 2000% damage boost, plus any additional based on the arcane killers arcane killer skills I can gain. And then having the Perceptive Gurus here actually allows me to get 900% damage boost for all commander cards as well, so I'm maximizing the amount of damage I can use. I am also putting in 2 of the relics here that give me arcane killer intensity because that's what's needed. And so we're going to try now with this deck. and we're going to see if we can make an improvement there. Now, when I tried it offline, I was actually able to get 200% overkill, and I'm going to show you how I did that. And so for this deck to work, you have to do a couple of things. One, you have to at least get your intensity up to over 100, and also you need to time it so that Circuit Break Hilaria actually uses her passive skills. Now, the thing with this deck is that the health, we don't have any passive heals, and so what I'm going to be losing here is also the health. And so I'm also limited by the amount of health here. And so I can't just increase my intensity as high as I could. I think the maximum intensity I'm going to be able to get up to is 130. And at that point, I'm going to just have enough health to survive. I am getting a little bit of a damage reduction, but that is not quite enough for me to sustain the health here. And so the maximum I can get to is 130, but that is the goal here. The goal is to get to 130 based on the health that I have. Now, depending on your setup, you may not be able to get to 130, for example, but you might be able to get close to it. And so we're going to take a look here and see how we're doing here. Now, I am also, keep in mind, I am also using 3 copies of Circuit Break here, and that is obviously not something that everybody has, but I just wanted to kind of, show an example of like how important it is to have the damage boost that you can stack. Like that is really sort of the meta now. This is what's more important than anything else in a commander event. Okay, and so if you have cards that can give you a damage boost and you can actually stack them, then you definitely want to focus on getting those. All right, so we're now at 130 intensity. I'm going to go ahead and activate all of my power gem spawners as well as Circuit Break Hilaria, and then I'm going to do a power gem swap here. And now let's see if we can get at least 33 trillion with this setup. And it looks like we're probably going to be really, really close. I'm curious if that will actually get there. The last time I tried it, I managed to get it. And yes, we actually did get just enough to get the 200% overkill. Okay. And so it's not easy. And it's actually not, it's not quick. Okay. And this is me with a full event deck already. And I still had to choose to not use it and instead just use the ultra rare card. And the reason why this works is because even though my deck here doesn't, this deck isn't all immortal killers, but even though I don't have the arcane killer bonus available, it's not activated, I'm still benefiting from the immortal killer bonus that my ultimate form is getting. And so the 900% damage is applied to this anyway. And then on top of that, I'm able to build up my intensity so that I can get 130 gives me basically an additional 600%. And so I was able to get 2600% damage boost. Multiply that by 3. I was able to get basically 7,800% damage boost for my entire deck, except for Circuit Perceptive Guru. So if you notice the damage there, my Magma Ventrix actually dealt the most damage because it was 3 times awakened, so it had more damage attack value than my copies of Circuit Break. Remember, in commander events, it comes down to how much attack each card has. Okay, and so with this setup, I'm able to get to 200, but not many people will have this, and it's also going to be difficult for people to say just get more ultra rare cards. So I'm still trying to explore to see what other options there are. Now, some of the things that you could consider doing is also looking at the Dark Immortal Killer. So if you have this card, this is potentially something that you can look into in that you could try and use this damage boost, because this gives you basically a 2,500% damage boost. But it is a dark card, and so you're going to be competing against the power gems here. So it is going to be a little bit difficult to deal with. But with this setup, you just need to make sure that you can get a lot of power gems. I'm thinking that you might also be able to incorporate the Freedom Fighters, because it can give you 5 times damage boost. And so if you can get it so that the Freedom Fighters deals about, if it deals about 6 trillion on its own, it can then it can nuke for 30 trillion. And so if you can sort of manage it so that this card can deal as much damage as possible, it might work. I haven't tried it just yet, but that is something that I think is worth a shot. So taking advantage of Freedom Fighters and also Glorious Golems, basically this could potentially work out as well as an alternative. I have not tried it yet, and I don't have another ultra kill boss to try right now, but give it a shot, and I will definitely try it, and then I'll give an update afterwards as well. And just another quick information as well, this event also has the Sunflare Mercenaries deck in the vault as well. If you are looking for another fire commander deck, this actually is a really good deck for Guild versus Guild. I've shown it before. The ultra rare card gives you basically immunity, as well as it cleanses everything, and it makes your ultimate form and your master collection card create more gems. I use it quite a bit, and I also have this in my 1 key set, so you can take a look here. I actually have a team here. I'm going to show you. I'm going to go to the Shroud boss because it's about to die. And so I'm going to show you this. I have a 1 key team set up here. And so what you can see here is I'm actually using this deck here, and I'm using the Sunflare Mercenaries, and I'm also using Isadora because they all are passive gem spawners. Remember, passive gem spawners are the ideal cards to use when you're fighting a lower level boss, because it guarantees you to have 100% overkill. Okay. And we can actually deal quite a bit of damage there. You can see that on 1 key, we're able to deal about 300 or 400 billion. And so just with that should be able to carry you in the small bosses all the way to 200 levels plus. And so that is going to be, able to help you go through your bosses faster. And so if you don't have that deck, I actually would recommend at least going 2 tiers to see if you can get some good cards out of it. It is well worth the gems, in my opinion, especially if you're looking for something that can be that is going to help you with Guild versus Guild. And so that's going to be it for this episode here. Just wanted to kind of show you that this deck is really easy to use, but at the same time, it actually feels weaker than the previous deck that we've seen that has damage boost. It's still going to be useful for future events. That's a Fire Slayer event that has Immortal Killer. But as far as this event goes, using this team on its own with just a single ultra rare and a single ultimate form, it's not enough to actually get a 200% overkill on the ultra kill boss. So if you do decide to go after this deck, just make sure that you are aware of this limitation for this deck in this event, so you don't get surprised by the lack of damage that you might be expecting. So hopefully this has been helpful for you. And again, I'm going to try out various different ideas, especially this dark one. I'm going to try out and see if that's even possible. And then I will probably post it in I'll post it in Network app if I do try that out and if I get any success. Okay, so thank you very much for watching, guys. Take care, have a good event, and I'll see you next time. Take care.